So, episode 7 of Invincible
Mhm.
basically confirmed all of Cecil's fears. Like when Cecil has an issue with Mark and with the Viltrumites as a whole and an impending Viltrumite invasion, it's easy to say, oh man, that shit ain't gonna happen. Well, episode 7 of season 3 gave us a look at what that shit looks like. And I can just tell you right now, for the most part, these are still marks that aren't like fully grown or aged Viltrumites. And they were able to do that to Earth within a matter of 3 days. Yeah,
Right.
Cecil is absolutely right for how he feels about Viltrumites. I will never ever again doubt this man's intentions. The points that he has against them, he is right. When I tell you they dog walk Earth as a whole, as an entity, Earth got dog walk. They were dog walking heroes. They were dog walking villains. They give a fuck. Like it's one thing and then Mark is the lone good Mark, which I'm under the impression that Angstrom Levy just went and got all the worst marks. Like this motherfucker can't be a villain everywhere but one place, right? That's just my assumption. With that being said, Greg, what did you think about the Invincible War, which was actually, I think it delivered on the hype for the most part. It was a couple things. It was a couple things that I wish they would have kind of fleshed out, but I believe it delivered on the hype. But go ahead.
Man, that whole scene, like the whole episode itself, but just seeing them come in like the way they did, and just like you said, with a matter of 3 days, wreaking havoc. Like if fuck around and find out was a scene, this episode was it. Like hands down, bro. Like I was just impressed at the fact, like, so as you see the screenshot you have, I'm more impressed at like the different versions of him that we saw in an evil light. Like I think that really got me a lot. Like I was like, oh, this is the evil side of him. And I'm like, man, I think I like this. I don't know if I'm turning into a villain, but I like this. For sure, like to see Oliver get his shit like smacked. Like hands down. But this, man, what they did in 3 days, and then like with Adam Eve, bro, that was brutal. It was brutal, bro. Like that whole episode, like they were just going in with no remorse. It was just like they didn't even have to have a reason for why they wanted to do it. They were literally having fun. This was a warm up, an appetizer, if you may, hors d'oeuvres to them.
And what's funny
Like,
is
but it
they
was
were
nice, man.
promised.
It was
Yeah, they were all promised like assistance with, I guess, the conquest of their own dimensions. Which that in itself tells me not all of them are the strongest heroes on their planet. They're just strong enough to take over and destroy most of Earth in a day, which again is impressive. But the variations which you brought up, they were very interesting to see too. The one pictured here with the Omni-Man suit on, or they call him Omnimark online.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of swagger to him. Like I really noticed that he had some swagger to him when he pulled up. And who is it? And then they had the one in the black and yellow, which with the cape. They call him Sinister Mark online. Momark, which is the one with the mohawk or mohawk mark. He had hands, but he really wasn't on that. And that's the first mark that our Mark went against. So that fight was solid. But then what I liked was how they took the time and showed around the globe heroes having to deal with Viltrumites. Like different hero teams having to deal with Viltrumites. So in terms of the grand scale and the devastation and how it was handled on this episode, Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
I loved every minute of it. Again, we got to see what happened when shit hit the fan and nobody's there to answer the call. Cecil knew he had no other option than to revert back to Mark. right? Because he's
Right.
the only person who could deal with this shit. Yeah, like you said, Black and Yellow Mark was probably my second favorite. When he pulled up, he was like, "I killed my dad. Like, y'all think y'all can fuck with me?"
Yeah, he
That
was
shit
on
was
some bullshit.
cold, man. And then, like Greg said, man, when Invincible came and snapped her leg, bro, by touching her, I was like, yeah, that nigga OP, man. I
So
love
the
it, bro.
thing about Omnimark during the fight, or before the fight even gets started, because Invincible is kicking that other Mark's ass, the one with the mask.
Right.
He's kicking his ass, and Omnimark pulls up, and then they commence fighting along with Adam Eve. And Omnimark says, "What are you gonna do? You can't fight us and save her." Like, it was so cold how he said this shit. He just like, this is nothing. Like, it's only one of you. There are hundreds of us. What do you have? What can you really do in this situation? And that was a great, again, it calls back to what the theme of this entire season has been. At what point do you just start killing these motherfuckers?
Mm-hmm.
Mark was once again facing, you find out later in the episode, or it's confirmed that he was holding back in his fight.
Right.
Trying to preserve lives that really don't give a fuck. Just that it don't make no sense. This is not Gotham City. You can't be Batman and conveniently get away with keeping the Joker alive. You know what I'm saying? You can't be, I mean, hell, even Superman when he fought Doomsday. Superman, that's one of my favorite comics. I'm gonna go down a little bit of rabbit hole. I'm not gonna take too much time. What was cool about Superman is the same thing they kind of did in this episode, but they kind of did it with Rick Explode. So at the beginning of the death of Superman, it starts off with Doomsday escaping. Doomsday doesn't say a word of dialogue. He just is punching this metal door and he finally gets out. Then he punches and kills a deer. He crushes a bird in his hand. He punches a tree and he just keeps escalating. It's a good day for Superman so far. He kisses his wife. He goes on about his business. And the first people that Doomsday runs into, I believe, are the Teen Titans. He dismantles them, then he starts to do it to the Justice League. This episode kind of followed that same beat. It just kept escalating until Mark was called in to handle it. Long story short, Superman is fighting Doomsday. And when he tackles Doomsday into a sewer, Doomsday gets up and punches the first person he sees, which is like a supervillain, who was willing. He was like, "Hey man, we can jump on Superman together." Doomsday punched that motherfucker and killed him. When Superman saw that shit, he was like, "This motherfucker is mindless." He told Lois, "I gotta kill him." It's the only thing. The long story short is, if Superman within a day of fighting somebody can come to that conclusion, I don't know why it took a season for Mark to come to that conclusion. You got to start killing these motherfuckers, man. But we'll get there. Moving on, the Invincibles end up coming back to on day 3 at the behest of Angstrom Levy. And he comes out and they're over Mark's mother's house, which again, Angstrom Levy is getting on this personal bullshit again.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying his plan, Sinister Mark, which is the one, the yellow and black one, comes out and he's saying, "Hey man, we done with this shit. All right, we did what it is you want us to do. You can't handle it from this point. I mean, why the fuck are we still listening to you?" They get ready to try and kill him. He used these little metal spears or cameras or whatever. He pushes them all in their own dimension. And Mark challenges him again. And to go along with what we were already talking about is Mark hesitates. Oliver is telling him, "Mark, this is the second time he done came after us. Kill this motherfucker right now." And he hesitates and Angstrom just escapes again. Now, Mark does grab his arm, but he cuts it off. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask both of y'all this, and I'm going to start with Greg. On a scale of 1 to 10, how pissed off were you at Mark at that moment?
10.
Thank you.
10.
Thank you. Chris, yourself?
My number can't be defined, man. I was that pissed off, bro.
He's so weak, man. Like
go ahead, Greg. You can go ahead.
He man, he's so foo-foo minded. I don't. It's like you got to destroy the whole world for this man to say, you know what? I think I've had enough, bro. Like you have the ability to basically dismantle this man and end your problem. It's like you walking into problems and you asking for more problems. You just want a reason to be upset at this point. He just needs to cry. He just wants to cry.
You want a reason to be heartbroken.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Angstrom. Like he's proven what he is on already. He's already giving you the game as to why are you okay with killing him the first time? Why not go ahead and beat the shit out of him? And I know they wanted to draw on how traumatic that was for Mark, but at the same time, Angstrom is further justifying why you did this shit in the first place. And you hesitate and you let him go again. Mark does have a great moment. I'm going to kick it back to you, Chris. He does have a great moment fighting Angstrom when Angstrom is shooting all those metal spears at him. And he's trying to push him into that portal. And Mark just stands his ground and he stands up and starts to push back. I thought that was a great, badass look for Mark. And he's a character that doesn't have a whole lot of badass moments. He does get one more at the end of this episode, and we'll bring it up. But yeah, you can go ahead and elaborate on your feelings on the Angstrom and Mark conflict, Chris.
Yeah, man, it pisses me off so bad, bro. But at the same time, I think it's a combination of, and I appreciate the writing this way, right? I think he is struggling so hard with one, trying to not become his dad, and then two, he doesn't want the world to see him as they see his father. I think that's the reason why he, even with all the bullshit and shenanigans going on, he still hesitates to quote unquote pull the trigger. I think that's why. Even though, like you said, Angstrom Levy's track record is beyond saving at this point. Like
He gotta
couldn't be a
go.
hero. I'd kill a motherfucker if I was a hero, bro. I'd be the worst hero of all time. I ain't got time for that, bro.
And this man brought this shit to your mama house again.
The front door, bro.
To the crib.
And his plan was to have only 8 remaining Invincibles were there. It's reasonable to say that he planned for more Invincibles to show up at your mama's house.
Facts.
And you gonna let this? Nah, bro. Nah. Taking a step back, I would like to talk about the moment. There are 2 standout moments. That one Mark who beat the hell out of the Guardians of the Globe, he was a problem. He was a problem.
He scared me.
And Mark, who didn't want Darkwing on the team, Darkwing ended up being the one that saved the remaining members of the Guardians of the Globe. So I thought, in a way, they would just find Cecil's decision making there. To me,
right.
And that Mark honestly may have suffered the worst fate, because if you guys remember, it's like creatures and shit in that dark void that Darkwing is in. And I look back at the introduction of the character in season 2, and that was some creepy shit. It was so creepy he didn't want to be there. So for him to make that sacrifice, he may have gotten out. But for the time being, we can only assume that he's still in there, and he kept that Mark in that dark place, and that Mark is probably dead. But the other one is, and I don't even know what the name of the new Guardians of the Globe or their spinoff team is. I can't remember right now. But that was such a difficult scene, seeing Rexplode and Robot and that team going against that other Mark. And first of all, that's a badass sacrifice Rexplode did.
Yeah, it was.
I thought that was really cool. That he just used his bones and basically made a bomb and killed that Mark. But it was, Bulletproof, him telling Bulletproof to get his friends out of there. I like that moment too. Rexplode has one of the best character development arcs in the entire series. How hard did that sacrifice hit you, Chris?
It was tough, man. Like you said, he was turning the corner. You know, he even had self-reflection and, you know, not even with the suit on, you know, just regular Rex walking around like, hey, that's the old
He
Rex.
was
The
ready
old
to
Rex
settle
would have said,
down, man.
yeah. The old Rex would have said some dickhead shit. This is the new Rex. I'm a changed guy. You know, him and Ray was about to, you know, really settle down, get together and stuff. It was tough to see, man. You know, you glad he got his chance at redemption, but I wanted to see how much further it was gonna go, you know.
Yeah, and Greg, what were your thoughts in that moment, man? I think you mentioned it was kind of tough, man.
Man, it was kind of tough to watch. You know what it put me in the mindset of?
What's that?
The world's greatest Saiyan sacrificing himself, you know, for his family.
That
Vegeta.
boy,
You
that
know
boy.
what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I just had to take a step back, and I was like, you know what, man, that near and dear to me, to my heart. Because, you know, Vegeta did the same thing, and I feel like him and
He
Rex
did.
were on the same page. But I thought about it when it happened. I thought, well, he's finna just take Rex out. But Rex was, you know, in his mind, it was just kind of like, you know, this has to be done. I'd rather it just be me than them. And when he said, you know, he said, you don't have anything to, you know, blow up. And then you start seeing him blow. I was like,
That shit was
oh,
cold. The
bro.
way they built up to it was cold.
Yeah.
I
I was
really
like,
liked it.
dang.
So also interesting, the mark that's at the top of the screen with the black mask, he didn't want to jeopardize or put his mother in danger. That Mark has lost his mom. Like, it was interesting getting a little bit of backstory through dialogue from the different marks, is what they've gone through.
Right.
In the end, Angstrom sends all these marks off to that like void dimension where we thought he died in. And also Angstrom, the technicians characters were cool. They're really cool. Wonder where we're going with that. And you know, it was interesting that they were working for Angstrom, and then they had just repaired his body, and then he comes back and they agree to repair his arm, but they're like, "Nah, we in charge now because you clearly don't know.
Facts.
Clearly don't know. So we need your help now because we've done what you wanted us to do. You've gotten your ass kicked twice. Just don't even worry about it no more. But it's interesting to see where we're gonna go with that.
I just want
So
to say, Angstrom has got to be like, he's the only person I've seen in this series that has gone through so much pain. This man that got blown up, his head swell up, he done had his face bashed in, his arm taken off. Bro is going through it. He has a right to be angry.
well, here's the
I
thing.
think
No,
Donald's had it worse than him.
Angstrom got a right to be angry at his mark.
Right.
He has no right to be angry at our Invincible. He has a right to be angry at the mark. Here's the other part. He's working with other marks that fall in line with the mark that he actually got beef with. To be honest, Angstrom kind of stupid to me. He kind of stupid because in the same vein, he could find a bunch of good marks. You know what? I just arrived at what he was doing. It's the old trope of hating something enough that you become it. The reason why he got bad marks is one, he wanted to show the rest of the planet what he experienced, even though his mark is clearly good. However, by the end of this season, our mark kind of does resemble his. We're gonna get into it. You know what, Angstrom? I might owe you an apology. I just had to really think through it just then. But we get to, and it is a lot. By the way, shout out to Billie Eilish for making one of the saddest songs ever that they decided to use here perfectly.
No, you can't listen to her without a dry.
Right. But yeah, so we get to the end of this episode. The world is starting to reveal. We get that glimpse a little bit earlier where, you know, we saw the devastation and heroes just really trying to put their lives back together. And Invincible I believe Mark is asked at this point by Caesar to rebuild the Guardians of the Globe, and Invincible declines. I believe that happened in episode 7. I'm almost certain it did. And they go and they're rebuilding. And then Power Plate's dumbass come out, and instead of trying to fight Mark, and honestly, going along with the actual leaving point, you did just see what a bad Mark could do.
Right.
Mark convinces Oliver that he not only is Mark not going to kill him, but Oliver can't do it neither. They hold him down. He shorts out again. They put his ass back in jail. And so they're rebuilding everything. Adam Eve is, recovering from her injuries. Her parents are still dickheads. And they're rebuilding the city. And the shadow comes over Mark. It is Conquest, who just about everybody online expected to show up during this season. And Conquest's speech was awesome. Just a couple lines. He says, look, you had time. We've been patient with you. The Viltrumite Empire gave you an assignment. He said, and here I stand, and this planet is still unready to take in the Viltrumite Empire. And Mark is like, this is a bad time. So Conquest is like, oh man, see, you trying to talk to me and I'm not doing none of this shit. And Mark is like, I've been through a bunch of shit in these past couple days. And I love nothing more than to hit something as hard as I can. Boy, when I tell you I got hyped when he said that shit, I said, oh, my boy ready to fight. My boy acting like a Saiyan in this motherfucker. Let's go. That closing scene had me so crunk. I know I watched this shit on YouTube about 4 or 5 times. I had to go and find that clip, man. And of course, Prime did what they were supposed to do and put the clip out for us to consume.
Facts.
We get to the next episode. We get to the main event of this season.
And boy, was it a main event.
I went ahead. The main event of this season, the fight of all fights when it comes to Invincible. And it had a tough act to follow as we saw Battle Beast and Alan the Alien and Nolan go against 2 Viltrumites. Prior to that, we had Omni-Man versus Invincible. Like it was a lot that this fight had to live up to. God damn it lived up to.
Facts.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's voice work as Conquest was top tier. Hands down. He hit every beat that you needed to hit. The thing about Conquest is, like, the fight jumped off, and Conquest was taking some of his best shots. When everything was Conquest's turn, it was like Mark got hit by a 500-ton truck every time. I appreciated how hard Conquest was hitting that man.
Fact.
It was diabolical. What were your thoughts just in the opening moments of this fight, Chris, when Conquest really got to let loose on her?
Man, like the first lick, bro, when he broke Mark's goggles, I was like, it's up, bro.
It usually takes some time to break them goggles. It was over with the first lick.
First punch, bro. Like, and I just appreciated how he was toying with him, because obviously the other planets he's conquered have been far less superior beings on these planets, and he's just wiped them out without any fun. And for a warrior as old as he is, like the saying shit, this is what they live and breathe for, bro. So I'm about to have some fun, dog. And he did that.
That's exactly what he did. It was party time, man. It was time, it was time to really get to it. And then, like, what I appreciate how much of the dialogue he had, because we haven't seen this character up until this point. So they have to do what they need to get you to care about him. And honestly, the writers did a great job of doing that. Conquest was tearing the city up using that man. The part where they're in space and he makes the heart with his blood.
That's
man. And blows it just.
When I saw this man, I said, "This boy throwed off. He done. He cooked his brain. His brain, it ain't nothing but bloodlust, man. Which is another great name for him if they didn't want to go with Conquest. But I love how big this fight felt. Like, we got the fight with Nolan and Invincible, and that felt big, but this fight felt big. And it was time to cut loose and really show the world. Because first you got the glimpse of what a full-scale Viltrumite takeover looks like. Well, now you get a glimpse of how it look when they older and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it again. I'm going to kick it to you, Greg. Cecil is right.
Yeah, man, very much so. Because Conquest was nothing to play with, bro. Like, when he came in as strong as he is, I kind of figured it was going to be this type of fight. I saw how he did with his own dad. Well, now he made him his new daddy because, man, bro, he came in with the vengeance. Like, he literally woke up and was like, you know what? I'm going to kill Mark today. That's what I'm going to do. Let me go pour this Folgers, put on my best suit, and I'm going to go kill this man. He beat that dude. When I say they were moving mountains, like, they were shifting that planet, it looked like. Like, the power he was putting into Mark, it seemed like they were going to turn that world upside down, literally. Like, I felt bad for Mark, but then at the same time, I was like, you know what? He need this. It took his girlfriend. It took his girlfriend. Not that Angstrom pulled up at your mama's front door. It took your girlfriend being in the hospital for you to say, you know what? It's time to amp up. Nah, he needed that whooping. He needed that.
Okay. All right. So we're going to even continue with that, with the girlfriend point. We're going to get there in just a second.
Nah, he needed
his girlfriend was injured. And again, you're right. They pulled up to his mama's house and his girlfriend being injured. That's when he decided to cut loose. Here's the thing. You should have did that to Angstrom. Because Conquest ain't the one. Conquest ain't the one. And he never been the one. Let me tell you. Conquest hit that boy so hard the animation style changed.
You saw that too?
Hell yeah. The whole animation style changed in the show. He hit that boy so hard, man. I said, what the heck? I said, oh shit, they doing it like an anime. So, by the way, without a shadow of a doubt, this episode kind of confirms that Robert Kirkman is definitely a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Mm-hmm.
If he made the original comics, a lot of those beats kind of are shared between Invincible and Dragon Ball Z. Facts. He's one of the showrunners here. You know what this reminded me of? The Broly fight in Super Broly. And remember, they started changing it was a different animation style during the whole fight with Gogeta. They just kept changing the animation as the conflict amped up. I think that is so. You haven't seen it?
I've seen it, but now thinking about it, I gotta go back and
watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch it. I think the animation style changed 4 times before that fight is over with.
That's wild.
Bruh, I think that's one of the coolest tricks, like visual tricks, and the way they just ease it in. Pause. The way it just happens, it kind of catches you off guard. And then as I'm watching, I was like, okay, that's some slick shit. Yeah, they definitely some Broly fans all here.
Facts.
That damn fight, when he knocked Mark through that goddamn building. No, it wasn't just one building. I'm sorry, I undersold it. Mark went across the whole skyline.
They had to be.
He just kept going. He had to be. He just kept going. The boy just kept falling. I said, God damn it, boy. Get up. Get up, please.
Come on, Craig.
Then Oliver ass talking to his mama. His mama dead ass wrong for letting him go out that door. Dead ass wrong. Talking about, okay, do what you can.
Don't let him catch you.
Oliver said that corny ass shit talking about his butt kicking time or whatever he said. That I ain't never gonna forget in my life. I Conquest slapped that boy.
I don't even think that was his full power. He was just putting it out there just to make a statement.
He slapped that boy, man, and like the animators made sure you knew how much this shit hurt. Oliver was looking at him like, God. That shit was like that, bruh. I think Oliver started crying, bro. That man hit Oliver so damn hard, and then they slow it down. So you see how Conquest was looking at him like, get your ass out of here now. Mark got the man off of him, and Mark was like, Oliver, please go home. He still, before Mark could even really get it out, Conquest was back up again. Beating ass on their ass quick. So just to get a little bit more ahead, Conquest decides he wants to end the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to target Oliver first because in his head, he like, I think Mike got a little bit more in him. Let's see what happens when I kill his brother.
Some more Dragon Ball Z shit.
The meme, and he definitely reminded me of Cell in this whole sequence.
I said it earlier to the bros, man.
I was like, oh, this is Cell and Gohan. Again,
facts.
Again, Robert Kirkman is definitely a fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Facts.
Easily. He starts stretching this boy out and talking him through how his body is coming apart as he's killing. This boy is sadistic, man.
That shit was brutal.
He is sadistic. That mean when they say Oliver at the beginning of the episode and Oliver at the end is so damn funny. Then like he go from exactly.
Hey yo,
that damn mean so out of pocket. That damn mean so funny to me, man. So we get to the point where Mark is starting to fight, and he's kind of making a dent on Conquest again. Like Conquest is letting him hit him for the most part. Mm-hmm. Conquest is like, nah, man, you hadn't seen enough yet. And he takes the bus scene from the season 1 finale to another level by taking Mark and flying him across, I think, to a different state or to an island.
Yeah, to that beach.
And he used Mark as a battering ram and was killing men, women, children, and a dog. And killing dogs on screen, having people to kill dogs on screen, they try to trick you. They really want you to hate this motherfucker.
That's some cold shit, man.
That's some cold-blooded shit. When I tell you, man, Conquest giving this man one of the greatest ass whoopings I ever seen at this point. Mark is beaten, battered, and bruised. Is this the point where he breaks Mark's leg also? Or is that when Adam Eve pulls back up?
I think
that's when she pulled up.
Yeah.
All right. Right, and I'm going to kick it to you because now we get to bring Cecil back up again. So, Greg, I'm kicking it to you next. Cecil has the one moment in this episode that made me laugh out loud. He went to his scientist, and of course, Cecil wants to use the marks as Rihanna men, which is a genius idea. And we're going to get Rihanna marks at some point to get up and go after Conquest. He asked the scientist, when is he going to be ready? This man said, man, it's going to take some weeks.
Yeah.
After giving him this long speech, and Cecil said, what the fuck are you talking about right now? He said, I'm looking at the strongest Viltrumite I've ever seen have his way with who I know is the strongest hero left on earth. You need to get these motherfuckers up and out there to fight this man right now. And the scientist is like, well, I guess I'm working over now. I guess we doing some. Like Cecil couldn't believe this man was still trying. He said, "Do you see what's going on out here right now?" Greg, what do you think just of everything that's happening so far? Is Cecil's frustration again another confirmation that he's right?
Cecil's frustration is real fear. This man felt it was over. As soon as they told him that it was nothing, he ain't heard nothing else but 3 weeks. He didn't want to hear no monologue. He heard 3 weeks, and his mind said, I'm finna die. I'm going to die.
This is it.
This is it. Like, we're dead. Like, there's nothing else. Like, y'all need to get this going, like, ASAP. Like, man, Cecil he went through every emotion in, like, a span of maybe, like, 5 minutes. He was happy that Mark was whooping ass. Then he got sad that they, the Infinity War of Viltrumites and Marks that came in. Then he was angry at his scientists. bro was having it rough.
It was rough.
Rough.
He was having a tough day, a tough couple weeks at this point.
Right.
Caesar, man, and when that part where he said, "What the fuck you quoting?" I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? Is a direct quote. Like he told that scientist, "What the fuck are you talking about right now, man?" So, moving on, Adam Eve decided to get up and get her ass whooped next. However, I'm gonna give props to this. That was one of the best displays we've seen of Adam Eve since that short story episode that she had. Like she was really going at Conquest, and honestly, it was impressive. Like even Conquest was impressed. She was going at his ass. She wasn't just making them damn walls that she makes. She had actual weapons this time, so that was great. And Conquest was taking those hits, and he got up and he said, "You know what? That's pretty good, but you breathing hard. You can't keep this up much longer. Eat her ass." This is after he broke Mark's leg. Beat her ass. Honestly, he did more than beat her ass. He really did. He really did do a Viltrumite special and put his hand through her heart. Mark gets mad again. The thing about this, and if you notice, the escalation of Mark's power over the course of this fight. Mark hit him so hard, and you can see the surprise in Conquest's face when he broke his arm. And Mark had a damn bone sticking out of his hand, but he broke Conquest's arm. And Conquest looked at this shit like it was made of vibranium or some shit. He was like, "Oh, this shit ain't supposed to break." He said something that was a great point. He said, "Just because you get mad, it doesn't mean you get stronger."
Right. Yep.
I like it.
Crucial point. Yep.
He said, just because you mad, it don't mean it's going to change how this goes. And they're fighting, and we get, and I want both of you guys' thoughts on this. We get the best moment in this whole episode. Conquest again decides that he's going to kill Mark. Oh, hold on. Right before that, Mark begging for Cecil to come and help Adam Eve was powerful. Going from the beginning of this season up until this point, he went from not trusting that man at all to begging him to save the love of his life. That was some crucial shit right there. And in that moment, I felt Stevie Young yet again, great voice work.
Right.
I felt him the way he was big.
Mind you, I know Cecil was listening, but he ain't want that smoke.
Hell no. Cecil didn't show up. He said, "Hell no." Hey, Cecil hit this move when he heard his name when he saw it on the screen.
Yeah,
I've been trying to talk to this kid to get him to call me the whole season.
Right, don't call
now
me.
Now is the time to call him. Nah, man, you can do it, Mark. I truly do believe in you. Mark, when Cecil heard his name called, he went downstairs and checked on the Rihanna marks again. He said, "Bro, you got them about ready for your boy." Because I know he don't think I'm just about to come and do my instant transmission to get them out of there now.
Right.
I'm still seeing this shit out. But Conquest decides that Mark has been through enough trauma and that he's gonna kill him. This to me is the moment that not only shows a side of respect from Conquest, but it also shows to me that Conquest had seen enough, and maybe he was concerned about how strong Mark had become over the course of the fight. Because he went from having fun to something that is completely out of nowhere to me when it comes to this character from what we see to this point. He's choking Mark, and he leans down, it gets close, and he says, "I'm lonely." And the truth is, nobody talks to me. Everybody is afraid of me. They just send me from planet to planet to take over and just hand over, everything to the Viltrumite Empire. I have no family. I have no friends. The truth is, this is my truth. And Conquest is just spilling his soul out to Mark at this point. The line that got me when he said Conquest, they didn't even give me a real name, just a purpose.
Hey, that shit was, oh man.
I said, what are we doing here? Now, wait a minute. You just made me hate this. You telling me he a victim? The man told Mark, take it to your grave. Mark said, hell no. Nah. Mark got the fuck up. But before we get into that, Chris, what were your thoughts just in that moment, just hearing Conquest just spill how he truly felt?
That shit was powerful, man. Like you said, when that line about not a name and it's a purpose, man, that shit rung like a school bell at 2:30 on a Friday, man. Like,
it was deep.
It was deep.
That was a deep line.
And like you know that in order to be alive in this Viltrumite empire, you have to be good at what you do. Because season 1, they killed all the weak ones.
Yep.
Yes.
So that in order to be alive now, you have to be one of them ones. But he looks like possibly the oldest one we've seen so far on screen. Him and what's the guy's name? Thetis or something like that. The old guy in the space.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's been doing this a long time, bro. And you can just imagine, like, not having anybody say a word to you, bro. Like, you hate him.
Well, here's the thing.
But you feel for him.
On the Thraxan planet, there were other older Viltrumites there. So, to your point, he's known so many Viltrumites, older Viltrumites. And you mean to tell me he don't have one friend out of all of them?
One, bro.
And they're all afraid of him, man. Like,
that's the wild part.
Crazy, bro. That was crazy. Greg, what were your thoughts in that moment?
Man, you think about it from a standpoint of you feel so alienated and annexed from your community. Like, how bad did he destroy the planets he went to go and take down? Like, you think about all that he's harboring. Like, I did feel like there was a little bit of sarcasm in what he was saying, but sometimes you use sarcasm to heal your wounds. And I feel like that's what he was doing, because the way he was saying it, it was just like, man, I have people that are afraid of me. Like, that they're strong. They're Viltrumites, but they're terrified of me. And just seeing the way he did Mark, you can only imagine if anybody tried him, if anybody made him mad. Like, he just had a bad day. And I just think about, like, all he's seen, like you said, he's been through with conquering the planets and everything. It makes me think that he kind of does have a soul, but he knew this is the only way I can survive. And he's looked at as a monster now for doing it. But at the same time, y'all made me. And then y'all didn't even give me a decent name.
Great point. The Viltrumite Empire made him. And he feels stuck in what it is of the monster, inside the monster that they created. And he doesn't know how else to be except for in his quiet moments when he's alone. And he can feel the way he truly feels. And seeing Mark fight so hard for his family and everything, I truly do believe two things. There was, again, a sign of respect there. Like, this warrior fought so honorably. I'm going to bestow on him my deepest secret before I kill him. I just need to get that weight off of me. But it also makes me feel like the last surviving member on any planet that he conquers knows his secret. I feel like everybody who he is killed, he tells him the same secret on the last person, and then it's over.
Kill him. Yep. Wow, bro.
So, speaking of where we go from this point, Mark doesn't get up. He is getting ready to kill him. Adam Eve rises from the dead. Does this final Kamehameha on his ass.
Like Jean Grey.
Bruh. She took that boy clothing and skin off. That shit was crazy. Also, Conquest is ripped. But anyway, Conquest still got up, skinless, and was trying to kill Mark. And Mark, having seen Eve just get resurrected, finds that extra bit of strength Mark is also at this point on one leg and with only one arm. And then I believe he hurts his Conquest has his other hand, or either that or he hurts it.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark just decides to headbutt him to death. And that was gruesome.
Yeah.
The fight finally ends. Cecil finally shows up, rescues everybody. Mark is in recovery. Oliver has also recovered for the most part. And then we get a great scene where with Robot doing the eulogy for Rick Explode and taking on Rex's name.
Mm-hmm.
Cecil Mark asks for proof of life or death with Conquest. Conquest he shows Mark Conquest's body. In reality, he has Conquest trapped in like this 400-ton prison or whatever. And Mark is happy that Adam Eve is still alive. But then we finally get to the end. And we alluded to this at the beginning. Mark is talking to Oliver and he says, you know what? I think you're right. When our family is in jeopardy, we got to kill them. Whoever it is, we have to. It took seeing Conquest. That's what I got from that. It was seeing Conquest and Eve, to your earlier point, Greg, Eve was the breaking point for Mark.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, he's one thing to fuck with my family. You fucking with everybody, man. And my old lady too, and she's superpowered and she couldn't handle this.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he lost Eve twice over the span of some weeks because I think some weeks had followed the Viltrumite. I mean, not the Viltrumite, the Invincible War. And up until now, because again, they had rebuilt some things. But yeah, this is it. So going forward, next season, we're not going to see Mark struggle with killing somebody. And I want to see what that looks like. I want to see what he does when he just decides, nah, this is it. This is it for you. I'll go ahead and rate this. We do a scale of 1 through 5. Greg, I know you're not familiar with the grading scale, but whatever your rating is, I'll let you know what it is. For me, Invincible Season 3 is just a step behind the first season. For me, it's an unapologetically legit season, which is a 4 out of 5. Chris, what's your score and verdict on it?
Man, it was looking like unapologetically alright at first, but then the way these last 2 episodes figured out, man, I gotta go unapologetically legit as well, bro. Like it's a solid 4 out of 5 for me.
Greg, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with legit as well. Like that, the last couple of episodes got me. I definitely enjoyed it. The build up was superior. Like the finale was great. Like I love the character build ups. Like it had it all. Like I think everything that happened in this season was on par, and I think it didn't leave us like on a cliffhanger. Like what's gonna happen next? Like it's like okay. We got a great fight. It ended the way we wanted. That means the next season finna be like we finna get straight to action. Like because Angstrom coming back. We finna see the road what are the marks that Cecil got. So I think this next season is definitely gonna be like it's got to be power pack. It's got to be power pack. But this one was legit, straight legit.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I'm really looking forward to season 4, but one plot thread or a couple plot threads, those mind controlling squid things have been on Earth. And I remember like when I saw him in the sewer, I forgot that dude threw one up in the sink in season 2.
Facts.
So we got that going on, and it looks like several humans have been taken over. Yeah. So he has essentially an army down there.
Yep.
We still have Battle Beast.
Battle Beast, yeah.
Woke up. My boy, he back. He's straight.
More.
Right. He handled his business. The big one is one that does not exist in the comics. The Dark Blood ending, where Dark Blood tells like this other creature, it's time to bring the Dark One forward or back or whatever. Robert Kirkman has came out and he said, I never got a chance to do this in the comics. This is going to be something that's completely different from the show. And it's really cool to have a situation where nobody really knows what to expect. So we're going to get some supernatural shit. In which I think Dark Blood is a pretty cool character, just a little bit I've seen from him, but he's going to get his own story. Looks like within the next season. So, and then the Technicians and Ancient League, of course, out there as well. But yeah, it was good stuff, man. Like it was a very, very good season.
U-GeekTV.